Hello and welcome to Mighty Metal Mud. My name is Chris Moore, and today we have a great show for you. Today I'm once again joined by my friends Mark Anderson and Robert Martin to talk about the latest Black Swan album, Paralyzed. I want to say that Mighty Metal Mud is a show for metal fans by a metal fan, not some music industry insider, nor a former musician, just a straight up fan that has nothing better to talk about. So, with that said, let's talk about Black Swan's Paralyzed. Let me give you a quick intro. The album was released not too long ago, February 27th, 2026. This is the band's third album, the first being 2020's Shake the World and 2022's Generation Mind. If you haven't heard of them, Black Swan is a supergroup of 80s melodic rock bands. The lead singer is Robin McCauley, who's best known for fronting the band MSG with Michael Schenker. He's also known for some solo work that he's done. Lead guitarist Reb Beach is best known for his role in the mighty Winger, and until recently he was a longtime member of Whitesnake until David Coverdale decided to retire. He's also appeared on Dawkins' Erase the Slate, which is most likely where he met the Black Swan bassist Jeff Pilson. Jeff Pilson is best known for being the bassist for Dawkins. He has also appeared on albums with bands such as Dio, MSG, which probably was where he met Robin McCauley, and he's done numerous projects with Dawkins guitarist George Lynch, and even acted in a movie called Rockstar, where he played the bassist for Mark Wahlberg's band Steel Dragon. So that's a classic right there. Pilson is currently playing in the band Foreigner, which he has been in since 2004. Newcomer to me, at least, is Matt Starr. He's the only member I was not familiar with until now, but he does have an impressive resume, working with Ace Frehley, Mr. Big, and is currently a member of the Christian metal band Faith's Edge. Now, Jeff Pilson produced all three albums, including this one, and all the music was written by Pilson, Beach, and McCauley. Now, to get it started, I'm going to ask Mark if he can give us what he thought about the album.
Okay, so first off, we had spoke, Chris, and you said the new Black Swan album was coming out. Well, cool. So I at that point I hadn't gone back and re-listened to the other albums. I had it was last Sunday. I was doing yard work, and I go, you know what? Let me put the new Black Swan on, like we had spoke, and I put it on. I was like, oh, this is really good. So I listened to it all. I went back again later that evening when this time I was barbecuing in the backyard. Put it on again. I was like, this is, if not better, the second time. And so at that point, I went back and listened to the second album, and I was kind of like a little underwhelmed. Then I listened to the first album. I was like, okay, this is really good too. But I think, in my opinion, this third one, Paralyzed, knocks both of them out of the park. I mean, right out of the gate, you have When the Cold Wind Blows. It has that very the intro is very soft, and then it kind of like builds, and it kind of kicks in to me. It kind of sounds like power metal, which I like power metal, and this is like I was like, it's like okay, this is a totally different take than what I expected. And then as the album kind of went on, to me it just got better and better. It had a lot of a lot of really good hooks in there. It has some really good catchy lyrics, and it was just fun. And it was like not too serious or deep, and it's from front to back, just a great album. And as soon as I got in the mail and put it in, so I go right here we go. I could actually put it through some good speakers. And it's like, oh, man, this sounds fantastic. I'm really impressed with, it, especially with Red Beach. He kind of came to the table, and his solos in this album are fantastic. And they're almost on, I would say, about 90% of the album, you get solos on every song. And that really sold me right there because Red Beach is like one of my favorite guitarists. He's kind of underrated as well. I mean, he was, in White Snake, you had David Coverdale kind of taking the spotlight, and same with Winger as well. And Don Dokken, to boot. So I really enjoy this album a lot. It's one of those I within the last week I go back to frequently.
What do you think, Robert?
Well, first, the great thing about being part of the metal community, and you guys know this, is that you can show up at a show by yourself and not know anyone, and then you can have a conversation, a long conversation, with someone you don't know. Both of you, we did that first time I met each of you, and I knew nothing about you. But just in the same way, knowing people in the metal community is you get turned on to this new music. I had never heard of Black Swan, and I feel that I'm a pretty knowledgeable guy about a lot of metal music. I had never heard of them. So I did the same thing. I went back and I listened to the first two albums. I thought the first one was better than the second one. And when I listened to this new one, I really, really liked it. And of course, I wanted to look into who was in it. And I saw it was Jeff Pilson. And I said, oh, okay. I know why Chris is into this band. And because of the Dokken connection. And I knew who Robin McCauley was, but I didn't realize who Red Beach was. But I've heard him play a lot and I've seen him in concert before. So I thought that was great. Awesome lineup in the band. I was really pleased with the album. And kind of the same thing. I have the same comment about Mark about the opening. Once the song gets going, um, about 50 seconds into it, it kicks in, and it really did remind me of some of the European power metal bands. Although it didn't have the as fast of a riff, and it didn't have the. A lot of those bands will have those super fast kick drum beats, double bass drum, or just playing two beats at a time or whatever. And I thought it opened well. I give the album a solid B because I think there's four songs that are outstanding. There's a couple of songs I could throw away. But interesting enough, when I listened to it, there's a few songs on there I thought, that kind of sounds a little bit like a Winger tune, or it kind of reminded me of that. And I don't mean that as an insult in any way at all. It's just what it reminded me of. I know sometimes Winger's a punchline to some jokes in metal. I don't think that. But then when I looked and it's like, oh, the guitarist actually it was in Winger or is in Winger. So a good album. And the vocals. I mean, Robin McCauley's an incredible singer, and at his age, he still sounds great. Really, really good. Because I want to say I think he's 70, maybe a little above 70. I could be wrong, but he's been around a long time.
So I want to interject with that. I had looked it up. He's 73 years old,
Mm.
and I was shocked because I went back that day. I got Black Swan and listened to Macaulay Shanker, and I actually think he sounds better now, which is pretty impressive considering. I mean, he's 73 years old, and I think he has more of an edge to his voice. Not that he didn't then, but I think everything was kind of polished back in the 80s. Where I think right now he's at where he's just like putting it all out there, and that impressed me a lot.
Okay, well, I'll give you my take on it here. So I'll be looking at my notes as I talk, but Paralyzed to me is the recognition of the greatness of 80s melodic rock. Um, I think it's nods to each of their respective bands, to MSG, to Dokken, to Winger, and you definitely hear those influences in the album. A lot of artists nowadays try to shy away a little bit from the 80s sound and reinvent themselves to be a little bit more relevant. That's been going on since the 90s, right? And but not this band. And I know even the members of this band have tried to reinvent themselves in other bands, but it seems like they all got together and said, you know what, let's just make a good 80s record. And I think that's what they did here. And in my notes, I got Robin McCauley at 72, but 72, 73, that's not much difference. He's pretty old, and most 72-year-olds you would think aren't going to be on stage or, be able to basically put out, uh, the screams like that, right? But so I can't get over his range. And I agree with you. I think he sounds better now than he did even back then when he was in his 20s and 30s. Reb Beach, he's still a guitar god. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that to me. Kind of reminds me of Nuno Betancourt, who's also putting out his best stuff right now with Extreme. So the two of them right now are just killing it, and I think they need to be shown a little bit more respect to get a little more. Well, I guess Nuno gets plenty of notoriety right now. He's involved with just about everything, but Reb, I think, needs to get involved in some more stuff as well. Jeff Pilson, I'm not the best person on the bass. But in this album, you can hear his bass. You can hear the distorted bass that he plays in some of the songs, and he's he's a spectacular bass. And then of course his backing vocals are top notch still. So, and then Mike Battstar, he's a solid drummer. I've never heard him before, but between him and Jeff producing it and getting the best sound out of him, those drums are like thunder to me. And so I think that is it's just a great combination of the four of them. The album is well balanced between fast, heavy songs and mid tempo songs that have some groove to them. It does slow down for a moment with the song "I'm Ready," um, but it picks up pretty quickly. So I don't think you can quite label it as a power ballad or anything like that. So as I was considering the best and worst songs on the album, I really couldn't come up with any what you would call duds. I don't. None of the songs. A lot of albums have some like misses. Sometimes bands will put in these songs towards the end that you're just like, well, we got to fill it up. Well, why don't we just use this song, right? But here, I think even the songs that maybe they had maybe I don't know if they had the attitude towards some of these songs, but I really think all the songs that I thought might have been duds ended up being really good. And so there's really no duds in this album. But let me go ahead and give you guys my standouts, and then I'll ask you for some of your standouts as well. I had four standouts. The first one, of course, you guys both touched on, "When the Cold Wind Blows." Just a great, energetic, aggressive first song. You guys were talking about sounding kind of like power metal. There was a point at the beginning before the song itself actually started where it almost gave me like Iron Maiden vibes, because Reb Beach was playing two different guitars, I guess, at the same time, kind of mixed them together. And he had that dual guitar sound that I thought just touched a little bit on Iron Maiden. So I thought that was pretty neat. But then when the song actually got started, oh yeah, there's Reb. You can tell that was Reb, most definitely. Um, the second song that I think stands out is "If I Was King," which at first I remember listening to it going, okay, this is a okay song. But as it plays, as I played it multiple times, the song really started ticking all the boxes for me. It's got a catchy chorus, this chunky guitar going chung 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 chung. And the lyrics that I thought might be a little cringy, I think actually kind of worked. And I'm just going to quote it. "If I was a king, I would make a change and I would try to sweep you off your feet and make you queen. If I ruled the world and there was love and peace and everything then we could learn to fly if I was king." And I was like, that is like almost like a love song right there. And I think it is a love song, just put to a really heavy tempo, and a heavy song with fast tempo. And I thought that was pretty cool. And apparently this ended up being their first single, because there's an actual music video for this song. So I guess they agree with me. It's a good song. So the next song I liked was "The Fire and the Flame." I thought that was a really good song, and that ended up being, I think it's their next single. And so I guess I picked out the two singles right off the bat. So I guess I could do that job sometime, picking out singles for people. It's another aggressive killer tune, and I just loved it. And then the last song, this is sort of my wild card, is the last song, "What the Future Holds." And usually by the time you get to the end of the album, you're just kind of like, okay, I think I'm done. It's been an hour. The song's over. But then it just pops on, and I made a note here. It says, I kind of judge bands by their opening and closing tracks. You got to have a strong opener, and then you got to know, you got to have an idea of how you want to end the album. And I think there's a language there that I really want to pursue and figure out how do bands put together their album. I mean, you got 10 songs or 11 songs in this case. How do you go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to the end? I think that would be interesting to talk to a band about how they figure that out. But they end the album, which I would with what I say would be their grooviest song. It's got this heavy, heavy groove. The bass is up to 11, and it's just catchy as hell. So I mean, I think those were my four. When the cold wind blows, when the cold wind blows, "If I Was King," "The Fire and the Flame," and what the future holds, or would be my big four. And even though those are all my faves, like I said, again, there are no duds on this album. This is, none of these songs were meh for me. And so I just wanted to say that I would definitely recommend this album, but those 4 songs especially are my favorites. Robert, what do you think? What are your favorite songs on the album?
It's interesting to hear your feedback because I have a couple that are the same and a couple that are different. And I go through it. I think we all probably end up loving the opening track when the cold wind blows. That's very, very good. I think my next run here that I really liked a lot. Oh, I liked Fire in the Flame as well, just as you did. I like the opening of it. It has, I don't know, it sort of had a Jakey Lee, Ozzy kind of feel to it in the beginning. And I liked the vocals, and I thought as it picked up, it really had it rocked and it had a harder sound to it. The song I really love the most on the album is Paralyzed. I just think this is an incredible heavy rock song. And it rocks. It sounds unique. It sounds modern. I think you could throw it in anywhere in heavy metal and it's going to just stand out. I really, really liked it and reminds me of parts of it, maybe of like some LA Guns kind of riff in there. In about the middle of it, I liked. And then the next one I really enjoyed was Carry, is it Carry On or Carry One? On there as track number 9.
Carry On.
Yes, and my bad handwriting. Uh, and again, it had a little bit of an Ozzy-ish kind of opening to it to me, the riff. But I thought it just really kicked in, and the riffs are good. It's got a very cool guitar all the way through, and I like that. Those are my 4 songs I put an A on. I do want to comment. You were talking about the bass line on what the future holds. I put on there. I really love the bass line in the opening, and I like that as well. But those are my 4. I had a couple of songs I could. I didn't really like Battered and Bruised very much. That's one I could probably kick out. It sounded a little too generic 80s for me. But there really is nothing on here where I'm just thinking, oh, I got to skip that. That's bad. But those 4 songs made it for me, and the rest of them are all pretty good. Like you said, there's not a lot on this album that's just bad. It's solid, really solid album.
Very good. Mark, what do you think?
Wow. Okay, we are really all on the same page here.
We got to start arguing about stuff.
I know,
Nobody's going to
right?
watch us because
I
we
don't
all
think it's going
agree.
to happen on this one though. So I'm with you guys. I mean, the first track drew me in when the cold wind blows. I mean, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, it, it got my attention. And it's like, okay, if this album carries on that quality, I'm on board. And obviously, I got on board. So that song is probably out of all of them, probably my favorite, just because it pulled me into the album. Um, then the other one I like is I'm Ready. Um, I thought it started off really cool because it's very a little melancholy, but then like it just ramps up and it starts just rocking. I thought it could almost go for a power ballad, but it rocks up enough where it's not. Um, Paralyzed, I thought that was is for a title track. It's kick ass. I was very impressed, and plus it's right kind of in the middle of the album. I guess going towards the latter half, but it just kind of like kicks it in again. The other one I really like is Carry On. For me, that has like some kind of chugging guitar. That one kind of reminds me of Iron Maiden. That one kind of had more of the Iron Maiden feel to it, and when that solo kicks in, I was like, man, this is just fantastic. Because sometimes these days you don't hear solos like that to that extreme, and I thought it was really really good. So those are mine.
So, Mark, what
Can
would
I
you?
can I
Oh,
say
go ahead.
something real quick?
Sure.
So both of you guys liked "I'm Ready," and when I talk about there's 2 songs I could probably kick. One I
Those are
already mentioned, "Battered and Bruised," and "I'm Ready" was the other one. It does. I put that it starts a bit slow for me, but it does build. And I had the same thing. I had power ballad question mark. So it's
right.
funny that we all had sort of the same thoughts. I think for me, it just took it a little too long to get going. But I see why you guys like it though.
You don't
And
have
I
to see
love
how
it.
we like why we like it. You can see like you guys are crazy. But Well, I was saying
No,
was
no,
so
no.
even the
I said I can see
oh,
why you like it.
Yeah.
but I agree with you that some of the songs, like I think what was the first one that you said was kind of a dud? Battered and Bruised, right?
Battered and bruised.
And there were a couple songs where I'm just like I'm not really feeling it, but they always had a little hook either in the bridge or in the main chorus that would offset like or like the lyrics or something would be like, oh, this is the greatest, but then it would turn it around for me at least and get me either in the bridge or in the main chorus or something in there would always be like, okay, this song isn't so bad. But I think the one song that I think let me try to think here. I'm trying to think if there's a song that really comes up. Yeah, I think "Battered and Bruised" would probably be the closest to a song I wouldn't care for it the most. But I don't remember everything about it, but I do remember it had some sort of hook that I was just like, okay, this song's pretty good. So there's just no telling, what'll get you.
Well, even the songs that I didn't love on there, I thought they all had pretty good hooks and all were catchy. So even if there were just songs I didn't think, oh, I would replay this as I'm listening to the album, or this isn't one I would pick out to play for someone, I did think they were all catchy in some way. The comment I put on Battered and Bruised, I just, in my mind when I heard it, it just conjured up visions of the generic late 80s heavy metal video with a lot of the posing, and the band is on stage and then they show the girls dancing and maybe some silhouette lighting in the background and the guitars posing. It was a little too generic for me, but that's
Okay,
me.
so I know you said B, but I the scale is 1 to 10, one being trash, five being meh, and 10 being perfection. Quickly, what number would you give it, Mark?
I would say 8.5. I
8.5?
mean, I enjoy. I would say 98% of the songs. I do agree. The song which one you guys just mentioned was on. It was second last track, right? Bella and Bruised. Yeah, not my favorite. I do want to say my other one I didn't mention was the Fire and the Flame. That was a fantastic song. So that's like my bonus one.
Okay.
Yeah, 8.5, and go get it. Go get it.
And Robert, what would you give it number wise?
Oh, I definitely give it an 8. It's a B for me, and it's solid album. I have no problem recommending somebody spend their money on this.
I think I'm gonna put it up to a 9, just because there was nothing to drag it down for me too much. I think it was near perfection. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put it 8.9, not quite an A, just a B plus 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 plus. Reason I do that is because I think they probably could have made it a little bit more differing, like a different little bit of a different sound, just to kind of because I think they they're on the fence of almost sounding generic. If I have to say that, there's a lot of word times where they kind of teeter on generic, and I think Robert said something about or was it you, Mark? One of you all were saying something about something being generic, and there were times where I'm just like, is this generic? On your first go around. This is definitely an album I think you have to put some time into. You listen to it once and it sounds good. It's very pleasing to the ear. Jeff Pilson did a wonderful job producing this, but I think that he, he made it almost too smooth. That's just sort of my opinion. But I
Right.
think it's not. I like smooth. I like things to be smooth. But I think I'm going to just give it an 8.9 because I think he probably could have given it a little bit more of an oomph, which I think he tried here and there with the bass, that heavy bass that he had. But we got about 8 more minutes, so let me ask you guys a question. Would you guys go see this band in concert if they were to tour? I'll
Hell
go
yeah.
with you, Robert.
100%. Oh, sorry. I
Go
was
ahead.
sorry I spoke too quick. 100%. That was going to be my question for you guys. If you knew if they toured, because I would be there, definitely.
They have never toured. They've just done the 3 albums. I think between Jeff being busy with Foreigner and Reb being busy with Winger and Whitesnake, I don't think they could. But I think now that Whitesnake's out of action, I think Winger is even kind of hanging it up for now. And Foreigner's still out there, but at some point they got to tour with this. This would be a great show to catch, I think. What about you, Mark?
Yeah, hell yeah, I'd go. I actually went to look for tour dates, and like there is none. And I think I hate to say this, but I think a lot of the frontier bands are like super groups, and I don't think they tour. They just kind of. I think unlike I'm pretty sure that with Black Swan, they're more of a group, where a lot of the groups on Frontier kind of like are like, hey, record this here, record this there, we'll put it out. So I hope that with the sales and the third album they do tour. Um, but being on Frontier and the super group kind of type thing, it might not happen. And like you said, with Jeff being busy and Reb probably being busy with some project, that might be kind of a sticking point as well. But I would definitely go see him in a heartbeat.
And the question is, where would they tour? I mean, who wants to see this band? I don't know how well the album's selling. I know it's bigger in Europe. I mean, that's where Frontiers is, right there. I think
Oh,
it's an Italian company. So, I mean, maybe they'll tour in Europe and we'll have to fly overseas to go see
right.
them. I don't know. But yeah,
I
so I
would
mean,
I
who
would
would go
think
see them?
I would think if they have a if they see they have a good following here by record sales, they could do like like a House of Blues type tour or something like that.
Very cool.
Or it might be something where they hit the festivals in Europe, since it's a European company or Italian company, which that would be great. Maybe that would get them some publicity and get their name out there more, and then maybe they would come to the States, and we might get something like Granada or House of Blues, something like that.
Very cool. Do you guys have anything else to add?
I was very pleased with this album, and I'm looking forward to doing more of these reviews.
Yeah, and I just want to say thanks for bringing the band up. I mentioned them to a couple other people that are huge metal fans, and they hadn't heard of them either. So always, and I try to turn on people to new music all the time. So not just us, but everybody out there in metal land, keep sharing that new music with people.
I think
Yep.
you said it best. Got to spread the word on. If you hear a good album, spread the word to all the people who are going to appreciate it. Thank you. That's a good. I think that's a good note to end on. Thanks for joining us. I want to thank Robert and Mark for helping us talk about Black Swan's Paralyzed. So until we meet again, make sure you stop listening to those political shows and start catching some actual shows with real music. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.